In some time we haven't done a Missing Millions, Patrick.
No, we haven't done a Missing Millions. We've been doing so many Facebook interviews of our trusted partners and our opportunity to, now to kind of step back, get into the Missing Millions conversation. Still talking about the real estate reset summit that we've got coming up November 5th and 6th. But in all of that, in the context of that, I think there's a really strong message on the Missing Millions side of the equation, JG.
Well, one of the things that we should definitely talk about is mistakes. Right now, our assessment, Patrick, is this is a high probability opportunity of mistakes right now in the real estate space. And I'll tell you why. If anyone's listening and thinking, JG, how is this a high probability of mistakes? I mean, I don't understand. It seems like everything we touch is turning into gold and we're just getting richer by the day. That's exactly
Yeah.
why it's a problem. That's exactly why it's an opportunity where people, and it's a very risky time in real estate. This is the place, Patrick, where people
Mm.
buy properties they really shouldn't buy. This is the time when people go to places they really shouldn't go to, and they invest in the wrong locations and they choose the wrong tactic, because in the last 12, 14 months since the pandemic really kind of, we got over that first hurdle, it's been incredible in the real estate space. And this is the moment where people have to come together, which is why we're hosting this incredible summit, the Great Real
Yeah.
Estate Reset Summit. Because one big mistake people will make is they will think that everything they touch turns to gold. And that will be the first mistake they make, and could be the very last mistake they make, because that may wipe them out.
Well, it is an interesting time, right? We talk about it often, is that it's through times like this, everybody's a genius. As you say, everything they touch turns to gold. But we have to keep in mind that most gains are paper gains. We also understand that regardless of what's happening in the pandemic, it is a influencer. It is a black swan event. We have to pay attention always to underlying economic fundamentals. And yes, do we believe trends are changing? Of course. Do we see upside in real estate? 100%. But when we look at the real estate cycle, we also have to acknowledge that part of the real estate cycle, JG, is exuberance. It's like everybody's talking about it and it's such a great thing. And well, that's awesome, by the way, nothing wrong with that. But we have to get back to the underlying fundamentals and look regionally at what's going on, what's driving our economy, what's driving GDP. Jobs still matter. And of course, when it comes to jobs, it's a different issue these days. And the point of it all is that these are the kinds of conversations that we're going to be having at the summit. And these are the kinds of conversations that many of the breakout sessions and many of our keynote speakers will be speaking to, because we're looking at the future of real estate. And we have to understand that given the pandemic, given what's happening with employment, given what's happened with supply chains, there are some underlying, we'll call it risks or headwinds, some potential headwinds that as investors we need to pay attention to. And I mean, there's a lot to it. And that's why we're having the summit. That's why we're having the keynote speakers that we're having.
You actually said the magic word right there, Patrick, which is future. And when it comes to real
Mm-hmm.
estate, you should not be investing for today. I mean, you are investing for your future. You should be thinking 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the line. And the real estate market is not like the stock market. You're not trading this stuff unless you're doing tactics like fix and flip, where it's a very short term, 3 months,
Yeah.
6 months, maybe 12 months. But if you're doing longer term real estate investing, if you're truly doing investing, not trading, you got to be thinking long term. You got to be thinking about the future. And that's why the Reset Summit is so important, because we're going to be talking about things that are going to be extremely relevant in 5 years, in 8 years, in 9 years, in 10 years. And some of the things we're talking about, Patrick, have the opportunity to
Yeah.
revolutionize real estate and revolutionize how
Mm-hmm.
how we invest in real estate, and how people live for forever. I mean, we are at a point in time right now where the technological convergences that are taking place truly can change everything, and that is what people have to start thinking about. Does that mean you should rush out and sell all your real estate today? No,
No.
no. But you got to start thinking about this stuff, Patrick, because it's going to take some time, won't it, for everyone to adjust.
Well, it is going to. There is, of course, the phrase, the future is now, meaning that what we're doing today is really playing out into the future. But the reality of it is the future is now. And the challenge is that when we, in the context of missing millions, sadly, many investors will sit on the sidelines. They'll actually think we're going to go back to what it once was, which we're not. That's something that people have to adjust to, is that we're not going back anywhere. We're moving forward. Technology is changing, and something, JG, that we're seeing. And we talk about the Great Canadian Migration. We're seeing the interprovincial migration shift and change, and we're going to be talking about those kinds of things. Also, what is the needs of our tenants? And guess what? There's a whole new demographic of tenants that are out there, and that's the work from home. And you have to understand what their needs are. So this is really about education. And in the context of missing millions, many people are thinking about today. They're making paper gains. The property that they invested in a pre-sale, they paid $400,000 for it, and today it's worth $450,000. Of course, none of that money's in your pocket yet. Again, it's not to make any of it wrong. It's to understand that there's underlying conditions that are not necessarily going to come to fruition, but we have to be aware of them so we don't get caught off guard. And that's really what the summit is talking about. And that's some of the discussions that we're going to be having within the network, within the community, and always community, culture, environment. You need to set yourself up to win, and that's the way to do it.
Yeah, you speak about mistakes, right? And that's what Missing Millions is all about. It's all about mistakes that we've made and mistakes we've seen others make. Being
Yes.
part of such a great community for so many years. The Real Estate Investment Network has helped 175,000 real estate investors over the last 29 years transact well over $5.45 billion of real estate. So, we've seen the trials, we've seen the tribulations, we've seen what works, and we've seen what doesn't work. I'll tell you one thing that the big mistake is when investors get stuck in a particular rhythm and they're not prepared to adapt and they're not prepared to change. And this has been, Patrick, we have gone and we can talk about post-pandemic bull run of real estate, which is the last 12 months, 14, 15 months have been absolutely incredible.
Off the
But I'll
charts.
tell you this, we've actually been on a bull run in real estate since the great financial recession of 2008.
Actually, it's been 30 years, but 2008 was just a blip. It's actually been a 30-year run when you really look at the numbers. So,
and the point there, folks, is we're not saying, and that's absolutely perfect, Patrick. We're not saying, folks, that we're expecting a major crash or a major meltdown. But what we are telling you is that there will be some significant changes, which will create chaos for some and create opportunities for others. And the people that 100%. Will win are the people that are open, the people that are ready to adapt, and the people that are ready to change. Those are the people that are going to win big, because in the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, there will be more changes to the real estate market in that timeline than we've seen in the last 100 years, Patrick.
We had an amazing with a guest that we'll release at some point, but it's actually, I said it also, it makes my brain hurt to think in those terms, because it's so big in terms of the adjustment to our traditional and kind of, I don't want to call it old school, but it is a little bit old school thinking, because that's how dramatically things are going to be changing over the next 5, 10, and 20 years, JG. And that's why this event is exciting. And that's why the most successful investors will look into the future and start to wrap their mind around. It's not like you wake up one day and go, oh, I got this figured out. No, you have to immerse yourself in it. You have to immerse yourself in the discussion, in the language, in the topics. And it takes some time to actually kind of get into a rhythm with it so that you can actually make decisions for your investing in real estate and growing your portfolio. And it's going to be absolutely essential that real estate investors do that.
Yeah, you absolutely nailed it there, Patrick. And that's why we're hosting the Great Real Estate Reset Summit, to give people a place to come together and really focus on these transitions that are going to happen, and to talk about it, and to communicate, and to network, and to meet with like-minded individuals, and to hear from incredible keynote speakers, and to also be participative in working sessions and breakout sessions. There's so much happening at the summit. Folks, we urge you to come and check it out. Go to the website, take a look at the incredible keynote speakers, the working sessions, the breakouts we're having. It's absolutely off the chart. And join us. There's going to be hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of people registered for this event. Come and check it out, because the Great Real Estate Reset Summit, Patrick, is an event people do not want to miss.
Absolutely. You're going to want to be there. JG, thanks for leading the charge on this conversation. Missing Millions. And ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you at the summit.